Now, what's the problem most people have with confessing their sins, right? They're doing something so wrong, they're afraid they're going to get in trouble with the government, right? If they admit what they're doing wrong. You notice I'm not, right? But I am telling you certain things don't make sense, right? Like my stepdaughter waking me up in the middle of the night, that wouldn't make sense, right? Why? I'm asleep, right? And I'm not thinking she will when I go to sleep, right? If she does, is that important enough for me to remember after 11 years? No. If she did. And I brought her back to her mom shortly if she did, right? I know. It's not like I wouldn't know how to deal with it if it happened or not, right? Just because I'm mentally ill don't mean I don't remember things before I joined the Navy, right? And I do know pedophilia is wrong, right, itself, though. But I do know if I'm interacting with the girl, she's in there with me by herself, right? I wouldn't even see her mom to interact with her, right? In any way, shape, or form, she's in there with me. Now, if it's late at night, what do you think I would be thinking if she's in there with me anyway? Why? Now, we all know the 4 reasons, right? Eat, drink, pee, or bathe, right? 2 of them, okay, if I'm not thinking right, and, explore if that's why, right, which could involve undressing her to help her pee. I don't know what's going on, right? And I'm half asleep, half awake, right? I'm groggy, or, right, not sure how long I was even asleep, right? But even a few minutes of sleep, or hours of sleep, feel the same, right? Are we the same, right? How long does it feel like you were asleep when you're asleep? A few minutes? Me too. Though it's been hours, I guess. So I'm told. When I go to sleep and I wake up, right? But why do you think people could do pranks on you in your sleep, right? Like at the Fresh Air Home, and I'm talking about all that, right? See, a prank, right, is changing my channel when I'm asleep, and I don't know how it changed to another channel, but you would have to have a remote to my TV to do all that, right? Right. But then you're messing with me, right, about something different, right? See, reading the whole Bible is different than what they're teaching you in Sunday school class. You know how I know? They taught me the same thing, right? And it's bull, right? It's not even the truth, right? It's not, right? The Bible wasn't written for the Christians first, but the Jew first, and then the Christian, right? That's because the Jews were having problems understanding grace. And the law. Right? It's almost like Jesus is trying to excuse you for breaking the law. That part they wouldn't understand, right? They wouldn't. They would even want to kill you over saying they can break the law, especially the Sabbath day or adultery, which kind of seems to be what Jesus did with the woman at the well, and right, the woman brought to him in the act of adultery, right? Now, when Jesus meets the woman at the well, they hang out for 2 more days. Then he leaves, right? But the second time he went through it as if to go straight to Jerusalem, and they got a little upset with him, right? But there was a reason for that, right? And the disciples wanted to call fire down from heaven, but he wouldn't let them, right? Remember that too, right? They know not what spirit they were in, right? Are you in that spirit yourself? Are you wanting to call down fire from heaven and judge everybody because you think you're perfect now? Because you know a little bit about Jesus. But let's destroy all the sinners like you're a perfect saint yourself. Even Jesus might not have been as perfect according to the law of Moses as you think, right, himself. And so, now if he ate a little pork or anything, right, having to do with Gentile stuff, right, anything he did breaking the law would be a sin, right? Even touching a dead body, right? Or touching a woman, right, who's not his wife. See, if he was a rabbi, that might also mean he was married himself, right? I don't know. It is possible. Right. Some rabbis are unmarried. It depends. But most of them are in Jewish society, right? Mm-hmm. I know. The question is, when the writer of The Woman in Adultery wrote the story, right? He didn't give her name, right? All we know is she was caught with another man, right? And was married to someone else and committed adultery against that person. And they thought it a good idea to bring her to Jesus. Well, what does he have to do with that? Only her husband can stone her first, right? She rebelled against the marriage, right? Rebellion is the sin of witchcraft according to Samuel, right? Right. Well, if you're sleeping with another man, that's adultery against the marriage, so he's the one to pick up stone to stone her as if she's a witch, right? Understand? Right. Not just anybody can stone her either, right? And this is how the law works too for Jesus and the woman, right? If she's not even his wife, he can't stone her anyway. Mm-hmm. Which is the whole premise of why they're bringing her to him, right? To see what he would do about it, right? If he would let them stone her or not, or pick up the first stone to stone her or not, which he can't do, right? The law won't let him either, right? That's grace too, by the way. Mm-hmm. Right. There are several reasons in the law he can't stone the woman by herself, too. One, she wasn't alone when she committed fornication, right? Or adultery, same thing, right? And the other thing is, right, he can't, as a Jew, right, punish another Jew for breaking the Jewish law, because that's against the Roman law, right? So there's 3 reasons Jesus couldn't do nothing about it, right? Even if he wanted to, right? I keep telling you that, right? If he's not her husband, he can't stone her. If they didn't bring the man and the woman together, he couldn't stone her. And if he's not the pontiff, who is Pilate, right, he can't stone her, right? There's 3 reasons that. Not 1, not 2, 3. God, don't you listen. God, won't you listen. And it wasn't just the Jewish law he had to follow, but Caesar's law, right? Did he say, render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's and God the things that are God's? Right. Okay, that means in the law too, right? Hello. Hello, ladies. Right. And gentlemen. Let me tell you something about the law, though. It's a 2-edged sword, right? If you break the law, Herschel, right, you're just as guilty, I know, as any other citizen who breaks the law, right? But you, too, if you're a Christian or a good guy, got to admit it, right? What you did wrong, or you're not dealing with what you did wrong, right? The mental block ain't simply, I'm acting crazy towards my wife and stalking her and holding a gun to her head. No man in his right mind, again, would do that, but you would also know if you did that or not. You wouldn't just forget. Because that's a crime. It's called assault with a deadly weapon. That's why you can't admit you did it, ain't it, Herschel? No. Right? It's like if something happened with me and my stepdaughter, I don't know what you're talking about. For one, I'm asleep on the couch, and I was. For two, only one other person can know that, my ex-wife, right? Unless I talked with someone about it the day I lost consciousness and woke up in the hospital, you see what I mean? I could have even been attacked by somebody who accused me of molesting my stepdaughter and wouldn't let it go and attacked me instead, right? Using the schizophrenia and how I had to get down off the roof and get up on the roof to attack me, right? Because they know you won't believe my story, right? See, that's another problem there, right? Because, see, then my ex-wife is incriminating the one who raised her, not me, her mother, right? And I think my ex-wife would be dumb enough to say that, right? Because she knows that too, right? But the biological dad might be, and certain people on base might be dumb enough to think that, right? But not me and my ex-wife, right? Only us two would know if something happened or not and how far it went or not. And if I'm making something up or not, she knows what I'm making up or not, unless she tried to, again, record me, which means something different as well, but that's what I would tell anyone, right? How do you know? You would have to be recording us that night, right? Tonight, right? Outside of me and my ex-wife and the girl, there's only 3 people in the apartment, right? No one else can know that. You're not God. You don't know everything. You're lying, right? But there is one way, a camera. Illegally in my apartment where me and my stepdaughter, because I'm half asleep, are interacting oddly, but not necessarily sexually, right? See, nudity between a step-parent and a stepdaughter don't mean sex, right? I could be thinking we need to take a bath together and then get confused and then get dressed, right? For a second or two, right? But that's still not planning to have sex with her. Is thinking what steps to take next, right? Do I, again, right, see if she can handle taking a bath with me, which might involve a little nudity, right? Between me and her. But do I do anything else, right? I don't know. I'm making it up, right? See, I'm giving you a plausible situation, but minimum exposure, right? But a possible exposure, I don't know, right? What this person is talking about, right? But I do admit to amnesia once in a while, right? Or forgetting things I might have done to a point, but not fully, right? You know what I mean? I do know not to molest a child, but I might have done something that looked sexual on camera. That could be something different, right? But the thing is, if they got something on camera, they could make it up by now. They could edit shit together now, right? Even if I never was with a child, right? That's the problem too, right? I don't know how to edit well myself either, right? You know, I can't put myself in a scene from 2,000 years ago or today or a make-up city, right, that don't even exist, right? I don't know how to do all that, right? I know, right. Sorry, I don't, right? But those who do, I know it's a talent, right, but don't use it on me, right, or my stepdaughter, right? See, I don't even have a picture of her, though, when she was a child. I was barely around her for 4 days anyway, at the most, right? One day if I moved back Friday, and 4 days if I moved back Monday, right? Depends on when I moved back to base, too. I don't remember that in particular, because I'm guessing if it was Monday or, the weekend at least, right? Because I would have to set up a room on base and move back to base, too, if I plus left me straight in Tennessee. That I know happened, right? But what I don't know happened is if I'm sleeping on the couch and she woke me up in the middle of the night, right? After 11 to 30-something years of dealing with all this, right? Now, my son was born later that year, too, right? Right. So whoever could have set this up already knows more than I can remember about it, you know what I mean? Right. And could have edited something together by now, right? Even if I didn't, right? See, that's the problem. And you're not supposed to tape someone without their knowledge, which is illegal too, right? If I'm in the privacy of my apartment and sleeping on the couch and her and the daughter in the bedroom, right? All of us are expected privacy, right? They can't come into the living room without a need, right? And then all I got to do is try to meet that need, but not do nothing sexual. But some of the needs are going to the bathroom, for example, or taking a shower. Mm-hmm. That can be nudity, but not sex, right? Do you see what I mean there too? Right? Now, some people are so carnally minded, though, a child can't even see an adult naked, right? The Bible don't tell you that either, right? In fact, it tells us you were naked in Eden and became ashamed by eating of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? Well, I don't know about you, but I don't know any fruit tree you can bite into, right? That can make you know you were naked one minute and not the next, right? And be ashamed of it, right? But I do know a sex act that can. It's called rape. That can make you ashamed, right? Especially if someone's trying to talk you into something. See, something's speaking to Eve in the garden. Vocal cords, right? But I don't know any serpent that has vocal cords, right? Let's get that myth out the way first. It's part of the myth of what happened, right? A myth is a lie that's leaving out certain information. The woman thinks a serpent in the tree or near the tree is speaking to her. Ever heard of ventriloquism, like I said before? Mm-hmm. Well, something that have vocal cords could be speaking to the woman from behind the tree. Mm-hmm. But something without vocal cords, like a serpent, can't. You know what I mean, too, right? That's the myth. You have to figure out first who's talking to Eve, who told them that they were naked. God asked them. Yahuwah Elohim asked them, the voice of. Yahuwah Elohim asked them who told them they were naked. Right? And he had to leave the garden and put up a flaming sword and cherubim to guard it. Lest man also eat of the tree of life and live forever, right? What does that mean, Peter? Romans, right? Jews and Gentiles from 2,000 years ago, right? Are they still around? Some of them, right? Living like the Highlander among mortals, right? Because they were around something immortal, right? Something they couldn't kill by a word, right? Or deed, right? Something that taught forgiveness too, right? Which it don't seem like they got the message still, right? Especially when it got into Emperor Constantine's hands, right? He was just as pagan as any other man of his era, right? Of his time, right? And I don't think he could handle the androgyny of Jesus and put Jesus above him, right? As a man, right? See, if Jesus is both male and female, that means his image is greater than ours as a man and a woman, right? So that means he's above the male and female, right? Or he's greater, he's our head, right? And then the head of the woman is the man, and the head of the children is the woman, right? Until they reach adulthood, and then the son is under the father, and the daughter's under the mother, right? Don't this make sense, right? And fit with what the Godhead says? Yes, it does. Okay, there you go. And the brother and sister, again, are used to could marry up till the time of Moses, right? Now we can't anymore because it's creating a possible breeding problem, right? They explored that in Angel and Insects. And then they used to marry cousins too, right? Even under the law. But now that's wrong, right? You can't marry a first or second cousin, but maybe a third, right? Or fourth, right? Right? But not a first and second, by the way. Berlin, right? Or Dion, right? Or Erica, right? Not interested, right? Not wrong, but not interested, right? Not judging, right? Know what I mean, right? I don't know. Now, there's two scriptures that might confuse you. One says, confess your faults one to another. The other one says, confess your sins, right? One to another, too, right? In other words, if you do something wrong, you got to admit you did that wrong and throw yourself on the mercy of the court. Especially if it's wrong against the government, right? I know. Now, the thing about the Navy, like I told you, any man who tries to have sex in the Navy with another man is committing sodomy, and that's a punishable crime under the UCMJ, right? Which is the Uniform Code of Military Justice, right? And anyone in the military branches, Army, Marines, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, and even the merchants. Marines, right? Anyone under that branch of the 5 branches of the military, including the merchant Marines, I think, right? 2, that are more civilian than, actually military, but still, those 5 branches, at least, the Coast Guard, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Army, right, are all the military branches, right? And all the military branches fall under the UCMJ, right? Now, here's another point. Some people are straight who like music and artsy stuff. Some people are gay who like music and artsy stuff, right? But it don't mean, again, right, a straight man can't like artsy stuff, nor that I'm against the gay man, right, for liking artsy stuff, simply because he prefers the pleasure of a man over a woman, or I prefer the pleasure of a woman over a man, right? Now, even in that idea in the Bible of it being wrong, right, there's still mercy under Jesus through grace, not of works, least any man should boast, right? Now, this is what the Christians and Jews don't understand about grace, right? And the law. Jesus is using a mistake David made when he ate of the shewbread, and it was unlawful for him to do that as well, to explain that the disciples were just eating corn they picked the same day. Now, there is a story about a man picking up sticks, like I told you before, on the Sabbath day. He was an Egyptian, and he was stoned the same day because they went for the Lord. The Lord said to stone the man, right? And they stoned him, right? But the problem with that is that's tyranny, right? All the man was doing was picking up a few sticks around his house. Come on. Do you understand whoever wrote this passage in the Bible is making a point? What's the point they're making? The cruelty of the law, the cruel curse of the law, is that if you break a rule, you can be punished if you don't do one of 2 things: admit you did it, or get caught doing it, right? There's 2 ways, 2 things that can happen, right? One, you get caught doing it and get in trouble and you go to jail, right? 2 is you admit you did it, right, before you get caught because you didn't mean to do it, right? It was a mistake, right? Or you didn't understand all the rules about it clearly, and you admit that, right, too. You can do that too, right? And then you're free by God at least, even if man punishes you for not understanding what that meant at the time, right? And they could still punish me, right? Unless they too know the mom's more responsible if she's in the bedroom with her than me, right? Why is the mom more responsible? Even with half a brain, right? And why am I less responsible if I'm paranoid schizophrenic and she married me and I'm sleeping on the couch, right? Did I say I left the couch to mess with the daughter? No, never did that, right? So the daughter, if she comes in there to me, who's coming into whose sleeping area? She's coming into yours. For real, really, really. See, they don't tell you this happens in a real pedophile case, right? I told you that before too. Real children do not mess with their sleeping step-parent, right? If they're in a different part of the house, right? Or apartment, right? They don't know to, right? Unless coach, right? To do it. Do it, right? I keep telling you that, dude. Someone has to show her to go in there to me. And the only one who could have done that is the biological dad, by the way. And her stepmom. They could have done that, but not me. Or Daphne, she's driving down from Arkansas, right? Or across country from Arkansas, right? She wouldn't think of doing that, right? And if Sal wanted to see her for a few days, she would just drop her off with his girlfriend, I guess, or fiance, whatever you want to call her, right? Or wife, if they were married, I don't know. And it would be up to them, right, to take her till she got back from them, which was Thursday, I think, right? I remember that much, right? And then I moved back to base around Friday or Sunday. That I'm a little unclear with, right? Because of, being around her so long, but not fully around her, right? And some of it I remember and some of it I don't, right? That's natural too with any... I can't tell you what my wife cooked me every day for dinner, but she cooked dinner for me when I got off work, right? After we moved into the apartment, things like that, right? She was trying to be the picturesque goody wife, right? Good wife, right? Right. Mm-hmm. Though we were working out some issues, I wasn't ready to do a joint account with her yet or things like that, but I was trying to work with them to see if it would last as well. Sometimes marriages that start quickly, end quickly. Just as fast as they begun, they're over. And that's how it can work too, right? It depends on how we treat each other, forgive each other, and if we think what happened was big enough deal to divorce or move on, right? Now, I don't know about you. If someone leaves you stranded in Tennessee on the way to meet their parents, something's off, right? Not just a little bit. And who is she mad with, if she's mad? Me, her family, right? Or herself, right? Someone's mad, right? Mad enough to leave me stranded in Tennessee, right? So what can I do about it? Nothing, right? But say, wait a minute, this ain't right. I might need to give her some space and see if she can really handle being my wife, right? Maybe the only reason she married me, like I told you before, is to get her daughter with her. Because that's what her mother required to get her, right? To be married in a stable relationship, right? Well, why do you marry a schizophrenic and think that's going to be a stable relationship is beyond me, but she did, right? So that's not my fault if my stepdaughter was to wake me up or not, right? I don't even remember it, for one. For two, it was over 11 years ago before I even got on YouTube. And for three, whoever's bringing it up knows more about it than me and my ex-wife can say about it, right? Without getting everybody in trouble. See, it wasn't just get her in trouble or me in trouble, but the whole family, right? Even mine can get in trouble, right? Even if they had nothing to do with it, right? Because I helped raise my sister or things like that, I had weird encounters with other girls of an older age, right? But they were still minors too, right? I told you about that, making that up too, right? But again, this is getting old. You don't want to listen to, right? Grace is not that we're perfect, right? It's that if you make a mistake, you can confess that mistake.